If you're like me, you've been seeing fire maple gear literally everywhere you look, and you're wondering, is it worth the purchase? And in this video, I'm going to tell you my 3 favorite items by Fire Maple and why I think you should purchase them. Now, this video is not sponsored, but if you stick around to the end, I have a discount code that gets you an extra 10% off your entire purchase. So if these look like something you want to pick up, make sure you stick around till then and get that extra 10% off. So we're going to start with a bonus, and this is not a very practical thing. It is more of an aesthetic and a vibe thing, and that is the leather canister cover for the gas canisters that pair up with pretty much everything that Fire Maple makes. They do absolutely nothing practically, but they look really cool. So I take these everywhere I go. I have like 6 of them. I put them on all my canisters. They also make a few other ones, some like chrome covers and some cloth covers. But you really can't go wrong with the leather cover. You can't go wrong with any of them, but the leather covers are my favorite. So this is a little bonus one. It doesn't count toward the list, but I use these with everything else. So keep that in mind. While we're talking about vibe, that brings me to my personal favorite piece of item, and that is the Fire Maple Copper Lantern. So this is actually the Ripple Lantern, and it is my overall favorite of all of Fire Maple's lanterns. You really can't go wrong with any of their lanterns, but the Copper Edition lanterns are definitely my favorite of all of them. They're really good at just bringing a vibe to the perfect level, and they don't use a ton of fuel, so you can use these things forever on a single tank. And again, it brings the vibe up, and you don't need to be sitting next to the fire to have that little flame flicker that just makes you feel a little better. So I use these all the time. I highly recommend it. It's the least practical thing on this list, but definitely one of my favorite items that I take on all of my trips. So let's get into some more practical items, shall we? So the first practical item on our list is the combination of the petrol pots and Fire Maple burners. Now, all of these are sold individually, but if you get them in a combination, you get a better price on them. So I highly recommend just picking them up at the same time. The petrol pots, there's G2 and the G3. The G2 is a little bit bigger than the G3, so it just has a better capacity. And all of the stoves, the Green Peak 2, the Hornet, all of them have been absolutely fantastic. I've tested almost all of their small backpacking burners, and they can all be paired together. They all work really, really well. And the biggest thing here is the convenience. So with the G2 in particular, the full-size canister and the stove all fit within this. You can throw it in your backpack and just keep everything nice and light in there. So if you want to make coffee or maybe a meal at a cool place, which my single favorite thing to do is to make a backpacking meal at a waterfall. So I do that all the time. I can't recommend these enough because this is really the only way I can make that happen, because you're not going to take a full-size stove to a waterfall, and everything nesting inside and just being the perfect size and weight makes it possible. So if the main thing you do is make backpacking meals or coffee or something simple, this is going to be the perfect thing for you. But let's get to our last item. And that last item is the Saturn X stove. So I have experimented with a lot of different stoves and burners and all of the fun cooking things, but this one has stood out as my favorite pretty consistently. There's just a few features in here that make it a lot nicer than some of the other stoves. If you want a full breakdown of all of the features, I do have a video on it, so I will link that now. But basically speaking, it being able to work in cold temperatures and with all different size pots and pans are the 2 things that make it the most valuable to me. So it also has the best flame control of any burner that I've used. So you can simmer something or you can sear something all pretty easily and consistently, which is huge for camping stoves. Usually the flame control isn't really there unless you get into the really, really high-end ones. And at that point, you're paying a couple $100s for something where you could just spend $100 and get this pretty consistently. There are sales. It is a little bit more sometimes, a little bit less sometimes. But if you use code Mitch10, even if it's on sale, you get a 10% off the entire order. So that goes along with any of this stuff. So if you stuck around till now, the code is Mitch10, and again, 10% off everything you purchase. So if you bought all this, you get 10% off the whole thing, and that doesn't matter if it's on sale, not on sale, whatever it is. It helps you, it helps the channel. I would really appreciate it if you used it. And again, if you want to see any more of this gear, there's more videos. I will link them in the description as well. That's all I got. Until next time, I appreciate you. Peace!